I always like how calm and quiet it is on a frosty morning. And I'm not even going to tell you how cold it is here, because to a lot of you guys watching this up north and in other climates, even in other countries, it's not cold at all here. But for us, it's a little cool. But whatever the case may be, in our part of the country, and I'm sure it's like this everywhere, when it drops down to unusual temperatures, then it gets a little bit quiet that morning. I just always like that. I'm gonna walk y'all out here to this truck. We've got several shorts loaded for this truck we're working on. I told y'all in the video, kind of brief, we got this truck. It was kind of a emergency situation for the guy. Not that it's a terrible thing wrong with the truck, it's just that the truck had a lot. He's got a job he's got to go back to, and it's just kind of one of them things. I mean, when you've got a dump truck, when it's time to go, it's time to go. When it's not, it's not. It's just kind of how it works. And we've been fairly dry even for our winter this year. Y'all may be hearing the puppies in the background, by the way. But it's been fairly dry even for our winter. So a dry year is a bad thing for most everybody, but it's a good thing for anybody running a dirt business, because that gives you a chance to do more work. That is, it's a good thing if you want to do more work. So we wanted to get this done completely yesterday. We got it at noon, but of course we had a couple issues. We had welding machine, of course, out of gas, had to go get gas, had a couple different things come up. So it was kind of a it's all just kind of thrown in there. So we did not get completely done with it. But we wanted to get done because I only get Tuesdays and Wednesdays where I've got Savannah to help me. And we're working on that red building over there. So that means that I only have Tuesdays and Wednesdays to have some help. And I really need more help than that with everything we're doing. So we will show more on that with some other videos. But just wanted to show y'all what we're doing. We've got to get this all cut off. This piece has got to be trimmed back to here. I was working on it last night. I'm going to climb up inside here really quickly. Show y'all a brief overview. Actually, you know what? I'm going to, y'all forgive me here. Oh yeah. Lay that torch down. Okay. So, of course, we just did a rough patch job. It was late last night. But all we're doing is just stopping the fines from getting out. So every time he would haul a load, he had just fine particles would be dropping out on the road. So all we're doing was sealing them off. Wasn't doing anything special. Fairly thin, rusted metal. And this was an entire, I found out this later, this was an entire layer put on top of another layer. And evidently on the other layer, there was some kind of rubber. I'm assuming it would be probably, I'm not sure, some type of spray something. I'm not sure exactly what it would be. I don't know if it would be like a rhino covering or something like that. Whatever it is, it was some kind of rubbery material on the second layer, which, if you don't know, makes it extremely difficult to weld, because you'll be burning through and trying to tie in, and then that other layer will be melting and bubbling out. So definitely an issue there. But the other thing we had to do here, y'all saw we had those three layers of metal there. We had to get that closed up, filled completely up, and then we had to put a fourth layer here in some places, just in order to seal this off. Now we're trying to do this as quick and as cheap as possible. So I'm gonna lower this down. I've got this on my chain hoist here. So it's not perfect. It's very difficult to get this exactly perfect, because there's not only wave in here, but there's also quite a bit of wave in our dump truck in the tailgate here. The tailgate actually had a curve in it this way, But then there's a lot of little dents here and there. So to try to get this perfect would actually require more work than this. But we're trying to get it done fast and affordable. So basically we're doing the best we can. This had some big gaps down in there when you close this gate. So I really feel like this is going to be a lot better for what we're working with. The one place I might try to close up a little bit tighter is right here. But when I shine a flashlight underneath there, I'm not seeing a lot of daylight. So I suspect that underneath there is other stuff holding that in. But what we'll have to do is we'll have to grind that back, feather this back some to where it's a nice smooth transition, and then weave a weld all the way. It's got to be a full pass weld, otherwise you'll get dirt stuck up underneath there and you'll have the same problem again. So a full weld, and see where I split this, I put several splits in here. That's so that I could bend my plate wherever I wanted it. I could bend it to match a lot of this. I could have used a bend there, but I didn't get one. But that gives me the ability to bend it and make it match all of that. But I'll have to put a nice weave pass and make sure it's a smooth transition. So in case you got any gravel or something like that, you're not catching anything. But we had to come all the way around here and get all of that in. Not the best job, but I think it's going to do the trick. And at the end of the day, it's about, stuff like this, it's about allowable tolerances and not making it too expensive for the customer at the same time. Now, I don't have time for this right now, but eventually he's going to need me to come back and fix these pins on this, because this is starting to wear out on there. There's a lot of shift, and it's sagging down low where it's being latched down in at the bottom there. You can't see it real well, but it's being latched down in there at the bottom. It's not quite latching real well. It works good enough now for him to be fine, so we're not going to work on that right now because I don't have time. But he's going to bring it back to me, and we'll have to work on all that. Basically, we'll just cut out all of this and re-sleeve it. Probably pick this whole door up off of here with this crane and pull it back, and then just re-sleeve that. It really shouldn't be a bad job at all. But this is the most important part right now, is just taking care of this right here. There are a couple other things that we need to do, but right now this is the most important part. And when you're looking at it on video, it doesn't seem like all that much, but yesterday was a pretty crazy day. We had all kinds of different stuff coming up. So we are just about done. He doesn't need it until Wednesday. So I've got everything tacked up, ready to weld. So probably what I'll do is go over here, work on my building, me and Savannah. It gets dark about 5:30 here right now. So I'll just work on that while I've got daylight hours, because I've got to have daylight over there. And then now that this is all tacked up and I've got light here in the shop and everything, I can work on this at night. I didn't want to fit anything at night while it was dark, because even if I've got light, I don't like fitting in the dark. You never know. You always end up missing something. But now that I've got all that squared away, I can just focus on coming out, getting this welded out this evening. There is quite a bit of welding, because we've got to get all that smooth. We've got to seal off all those holes right there, make sure there's no snags. And you've got to tack it really well before you start welding, because you're going to put a lot of heat on that. And then we've got to get that underside. And I'll show you that underside real quick. This is actually working pretty good. I just got this hooked up to the gantry crane and then hooked up right there for picking up this gate. If y'all want, y'all can go back and see this gantry build right here. I do have older videos. Some of my very first videos was on this gantry build. I didn't get really good videos because I wasn't all that good at making videos back in the day. Didn't have very good stuff for it. But there are some videos that kind of go through some of the details and talk you through it. So if you're interested in that, go check that out. Let's see. So this right here, some of this is where the original weld was. They had already made a pass of weld underneath this part. But then I had to weld some of this over here up, and it looks like gobbledygook. I mean, when you're welding 3 different layers together and it's got that plastic goop rolling out on you, and it's thin and rusted. It's kind of hard to get it just perfect. So instead of worrying about perfection, I made them good. They're all tied in. I don't know if you can see that or not. I doubt it. It's tied in. It's smooth and tied in. It's just not the best. It's not like a gorgeous weld. It's definitely not something I would show off. I definitely wouldn't put it on a YouTube video. No, but what we'll do, now that that's a good solid base, it can't get any dirt, now we're actually we'll have to weld all of this to keep this from being a problem. So this is gonna have to be solid seal welded on all sides. So that's gonna create so much heat, it could potentially warp, grow, everything else. So you've got to have this tacked down in multiple good places, and then I suggest jumping around welding it, not just welding it in one long strip. So all of that's going to be important. We'll do all that. We'll do a couple other, maybe one or two other shorts to show out, but I just figured I'd put one long video for anybody that is interested. I doubt I'll get a lot of interest in it. It's not for everybody, but we've got to get that cut off there, and then that's all going to be done. As far as this dump truck goes, there is another job. It's going to have to be done. I don't know if I can show it here without raising the dump up. But for anybody who is interested, this axle right here, it's got a steering column here. It's made to be a steering axle so it doesn't break. I don't think I can see it from this side, but it is actually tied off to where it cannot steer right now. So the guy, he can't use this. He can't carry as much weight. If you know anything about dump trucks, that axle is for when you're fully loaded, you need that extra axle, but you also need it to be able to steer. So this one has been tied off. This is something we've got to fix. I don't know if you can see it. Try to get the lighting right. I don't know. Lighting is very poor on this. It's a really dark spot there. Yeah, I don't think you'll be able to see it. But right here, it's been broken. You can't see it, guys. I'll have to get some light in here to show it to you later. But this is actually broken loose. And I feel like this is cast. I don't know for sure. Somebody attempted to weld it. The whole weld split in half. So all that's got to be repaired. But that's going to take a detailed repair. I'm going to have to do some research to see if this is cast. If it is, I can repair it, but I've got to know what it is. So we're not going to do that right now, but that is a job that's going to have to come up eventually. He's going to have to take this back to me and work on, essentially fix the steering arm on that. Shouldn't be overly complicated, but if it is cast, you know, you want to make sure you're reheating your metal right and then letting it cool down slow and welding it with the right procedure and things like that. So we do want to be sure and get that right regardless, whether it's cast or not. So, but anyway, that's going to be about it, guys. I mean, it's quite a bit of welding here and making sure it's solid. I like that. Not a big job. It's just time consuming with all those welds. I mean, we had 3 different fully penetrated welds and we had to get all that clay and stuff out of there. So just kind of how it worked out. But I think we're going to make it work. It's all fit together. I'll just weld it at night, make sure I get it done by Wednesday. That way we can keep working on that building. I don't know how far we're going to get on that, but hopefully we can show some videos on that later. Those videos will come up later on. So